Part 32. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 311. Hiss. No one expected Taishan to do this. Looking at the magic crystal bombs that were shooting out, everyone exclaimed in shock and was in a state of confusion. Bang! Ye Chen fired decisively and shot another fire attribute magic crystal bomb. Boom! Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Two fire attribute magic crystal bombs collided in mid-air, causing a deafening explosion. A huge shockwave was generated within a radius of 100 yards, causing the sea water to surge into the sky, accompanied by thick white mist to form an unimaginable spectacle. Immediately, the surging waves fell like a violent storm, causing the sea surface to surge. The fleets of the two armies were lifted up by the sea and turbulent. The fleets were clearly moving forward, but they were forcibly pulled apart by the storm. Whew! Everyone on both sides breathed a sigh of relief. Then, the fleets of the two armies moved forward again and collided with each other. Now the arrow is on the string, it has to be fired. However, this time, Ye Chen did not fire. Who knows if Taishan's rebound will be launched again. Because of this, Ye Chen did not dare to take risks. The fleets of the two armies continued to move forward, shortening the distance between the two sides. 150 yards. 80 yards. 30 yards. 10 yards. With a bang, the fleets of the two armies collided, stirring up a huge wave. Roar! The war cry sounded, and the armies of both sides jumped onto the decks of the other side and attacked frantically. Summon Octopus King. Suddenly, a red light flashed on the nearby sea surface, and then a super large octopus appeared. The Octopus King is a pet and a mount at the same time. And because of its huge body, it has the effect of multiple people riding. Of course, at this moment, only Big Fried Chicken was sitting alone on the top of the Octopus King's head, which was like a small mountain. It was too big, and the size of the Octopus King was much larger than the ship. Now the 12 ships of both sides were piled together, and the size of the Octopus King was almost half of their total size. Why did the Octopus King appear here? I don't know, and there seems to be a person on its head. Did that person subdue the Octopus King? What kind of joke is this? It seems that this is not a joke, that guy really subdued the Octopus King. Don't panic, everyone. Now the Octopus King has become a pet, and its HP is only 40,000 points. It is far inferior to the real Octopus King. And if we kill that guy, the Octopus King will automatically disappear. The appearance of the Octopus King directly shocked the Lanyan fleet. Even Lanyan, Taishan, and Susu were stunned. At the same time, they finally knew why Ye Chen dared to confront them head-on. In addition to the cannon, it was because of the Octopus King. At this moment, Big Fried Chicken summoned the Octopus King for the first time. Sitting on the head of the Octopus King, he felt like he could see all the mountains, and the pleasure came like a tide. Now the Octopus King only has 58 points of favorability. Big Fried Chicken is afraid that it will rebel and escape, so he quickly took out 3 milk bottles and knocked on the Octopus King's head. As the Octopus King is his pet, both sides have a strong sense of each other. At this moment, the Octopus King instantly understood that Big Fried Fish wanted to feed him, so he stretched out his huge tentacles to grab Big Fried Chicken and moved it to his mouth. Whoosh! Big Fried Chicken threw the milk bottle directly into the Octopus King's bloody mouth. In just a moment, the Octopus King's expressionless face appeared with a smile, the two eyes that were originally as big as reefs narrowed up with a smile. Favorability 88 points. The Octopus King was in a good mood, put the Big Fried Chicken back on his head, and then faced the enemy fleet with a fierce look. At this time, the enemy concentrated their fire and bombarded the Octopus King, dense rain of arrows, whistling fire dragons. With the current HP of the Octopus King, it can't withstand this wave at all. Moreover, its body is too huge, and it is a living target that can't be avoided. But it has no way, but Big Fried Chicken has a way. As a tamer, Big Fried Chicken relies on pets to fight. It has no output ability, but it can assist pets and amplify pets. Summon, Violent Bear King, Runaway Snail, Flame Giant, Medusa, Banyan Tree King. In an instant, Big Fried Chicken's other 5 pets appeared above the head of the Octopus King. With so many people standing here, they didn't feel crowded. The size of the Octopus King can be imagined. Star barrier, 6 stars. Big Fried Chicken stood up sternly and stretched his hands to the void. The next moment, the space in front of him produced a wave, and then an upright 6-pointed star array appeared. Star barrier is the defensive skill of the tamer, and it can only be activated when at least 3 pets are present. 3 pets, it is a triangular magic circle. 4 pets, it is a quadrilateral magic circle. 5 pets, it is a pentagram magic circle. 6 pets, it is a hexagram magic circle. By analogy, the higher the star level, the stronger the defense and the larger the range. At this moment, the range of the hexagram magic circle is quite large, more than 30 yards, directly blocking all the enemy's concentrated fire. Crackling. Countless arrows and fire dragons bombarded the hexagram magic circle, like fireworks, flashing dazzling light. But it was unable to blow up the hexagram magic circle. After one round, the hexagram magic circle disappeared, but the enemy's attack also failed. You know, the enemy is thinking of killing the Octopus King in one wave, so the ranged ones all use level 30 or 40 ultimate skills. Now that the wave is over, they have temporarily lost their means of strong attack. Even if they fight a war of attrition again, the Octopus King is not afraid. Crazy hammering. -1580. -1620. -1573. -1632. Then, the Octopus King furiously attacked, raised countless huge tentacles, and hammered the enemy fleet crazily. Group attack, continuous group attack. Maybe the single damage is not outstanding, but this kind of damage is continuous. The Blueface fleet is undoubtedly the elite among the elites. Any one of them is at least dressed in purple and inlaid with at least LV2 puzzles. Just one blow, they are enough to withstand it, but the Octopus King continued to attack, and immediately beat them screaming. Bang bang bang. The ships were all broken. Some tentacles even whipped on the sea surface, stirring up waves and soaking the enemy, making them look miserable. On the other side, Lan Yan spread his wings, which turned out to be ice wings. Because of the wings, Lan Yan was extremely fast, gliding in the air like a dragonfly skimming the water. He was the controller of ice, and he shot out ice cones with a flick of his hand, causing terrifying damage. He killed more than 10 enemy players in a few seconds. He had an earring hanging on his left ear, which was in the shape of a water drop like Ye Chen. But Ye Chen's was fiery red, while his was ice blue. The color was the same, so it can be inferred that Lan Yan was also a preacher of a certain ice-type upper god. Color is very important. For example, Ye Chen and Huo Wu both wore the same absorber, but the color of Ye Chen's earrings was much deeper than Huo Wu's. After all, one was a preacher and the other was just a believer, 2 completely different existences. Therefore, Lan Yan was also a preacher, almost confirmed. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 312. The Octopus King beat the Lan Yan fleet with a crazy blow, killing nearly 200 people in a second. The 3 ships were broken and on the verge of damage. Keeping that big guy will only do harm. Lan Yan's eyes condensed, as if releasing a chilling cold air. He was about to slide towards the Octopus King. Suddenly, a strong wind came, and an assassin wearing a black leather coat and holding up black ferocious snake wings on his back rushed over and blocked him. The assassin held a blood-red short blade that was longer than an ordinary dagger, and hung a fiery red earring on his ears, and his feet even aroused red fighting spirit. The buzzing sound produced by fighting spirit cutting the air was particularly harsh. Taiwan novel network rightward arrow. Yeshen, just as the rumors say, you are really strong. Lan Yan seemed to be praising Yechen, but his face was still cold, without a trace of expression. I'm flattered. Yechen smiled softly. The other party was undoubtedly a king, and was at the same level as Sword Without Trace, One Gun Bleeding Blood, and the King of South Korea. These people, in any country, are the top level, they have long been famous. Compared to them, Yechen can be said to be a junior. Facing the praise of the seniors, although Yechen was not excited, he also had a feeling of being recognized by the strong. After a brief exchange between the two sides, they started a fierce battle. Lan Yan also opened his fighting spirit. Facing Yechen, he did not dare to be arrogant at all. I saw him waving his hands to eject ice cones, and sometimes releasing ice spears and ice bullets to attack Yechen. While attacking, he also retreated rhythmically. The skill and gorgeousness of the moves are more than 1 or 2 levels higher than Huo Wu. Roll. Sidestep. Yechen dodged and pursued further. Because he needed to dodge the opponent's attack, he moved. No, it should be said that his forward speed was not fast. But Xiao He was not a threat at all, and rushed straight towards Lan Yan. However, Lan Yan had wings, so even when he retreated, he would glide, which was much faster than an ordinary kite. This made Xiao He unable to catch up with him for a while, and his attacks were very frequent and intensive. You know, the ice controller and the fire controller released ice cones or fireballs in their hands, which were all ordinary attacks. Ordinary attacks naturally have no cooldown time, but this kind of ordinary attack will consume MP for them. If it were Huo Wu, she would have been unable to keep up with MP with such frequent and intensive attacks. But while Lan Yan frequently attacked Yechen, he actually had some spare energy to release small skills to sweep the surrounding enemies. Unlike Yechen, who recovered blood by killing people, he recovered mana by killing people. This made his MP continuous. Finally, under Lan Yan's frequent attacks, Yechen made a mistake in his movement and was hit by Lan Yan's ice cone. At this moment, Yechen clearly felt a little sluggish in his body. System, you were hit by the player Lan Yan's disaster, and your attack speed is -14%. Movement speed -14%. Yechen was shocked. Although he was not familiar with the ice manipulator, he had fought against him in his previous life. He knew that the ice manipulator's ice cone did not have a deceleration effect. But Lan Yan did. This was obviously an additional special effect of the equipment, or other passive skills. Yechen was slowed down, 14% was not much for him. But the key is that humans are at a frequency for a long time, and this frequency suddenly increases or decreases. Ordinary people are easily disrupted and cannot adapt instantly. If it is a king like Lan Yan, they have experienced thousands of PK battles and their reflexes are far superior to ordinary people. They can naturally adjust the rhythm instantly. However, Yechen is not like this now. After all, he is not a king. Maybe he is not much inferior in combat power, but there is still a certain gap in the grasp of details such as rhythm. Bang bang bang. Lan Yan's eyes condensed slightly. He was very sharp to catch Yechen's slowness and took the opportunity to output. Even if Yechen had the blessing of fighting spirit, his HP was instantly knocked down by half. Break the martial arts. Self-recovery. Yechen knew something was wrong, so he quickly activated his hegemony and took out a bottle to hold in his mouth, instantly recovering 35% of his HP. Then, Yechen rushed out, and he no longer dodged the ordinary ice cones, but directly took them on, because this deceleration effect cannot be stacked, so Ye Chen was not afraid. Bang bang bang. Ye Chen maintained his hegemony and directly pushed forward against the ice cones, and finally approached Lan Yan with a faster speed. At this time, Xiao He had already appeared in front of Lan Yan, and when the opponent was unprepared, he hit him with a stick, a club. Lan Yan was stunned, but he was instantly relieved. Human talent, firm will. In fact, the real strong usually prefer the human race. In any game, control is a very deadly thing. Having a control release skill is equivalent to having an extra life in many cases. At this moment, a trace of shock flashed across Lan Yan's eyes. He could not detect Xiao He's existence, so he could only attribute it to the skill. But this skill is so mysterious that it is unpredictable. Lan Yan dared not hesitate, and quickly launched an ice wall and retreated quickly. The ice wall has a strong deceleration effect, but Xiao He still passed through it as if it were flat ground, and exploded Lan Yan. Xiao He's damage is equivalent to Ye Chen's, and its continuous explosion and release of skills are not enough to kill Lan Yan. It's not just Do Qi, this shows that Lan Yan's own defense is very high. The next moment, an ice armor appeared on Lan Yan's body. Xiao He attacked the ice armor, but only a few cracks were created. Lan Yan was unharmed. Lan Yan was also extremely shocked. Xiao He was too mysterious. He couldn't guess it at all. He could ignore the deceleration of the ice wall. What skill is this? He couldn't guess it, so he stopped guessing, because no matter what skill it was, as long as he killed Ye Chen, it would be enough. Ye Chen was already rushing over with a domineering body. Lan Yan snapped his fingers condense. In just a moment, Ye Chen turned into an ice cube, but his firm will was automatically activated, causing the ice layer on his body to automatically break. However, the next moment, the broken ice layer condensed again and froze Ye Chen again. You know, the domineering body is not invincible. On the one hand, it strengthens defense, and on the other hand, it cannot be repelled or knocked away. However, it is still controllable. The skill of condensation is a single target strong control, with a very high probability of freezing the target for a long time. During this period, if the target is unfrozen, it will freeze the target again. Ice mages may not have the explosive power and destructive power of fire mages, but they have first-class control. Especially the condensation skill, which is called the strongest single control skill in Dream World because it can break a firm will. Big wave. Lan Yan did not need to chant, and released a big wave. This skill is just an ordinary skill of ice mages. It is not even an ice system, but a water system that is not included in Dream World. It has no ice strength attached, so the damage is not high. However, the big wave is a repulse skill. Ye Chen was in a dominant position before, but he was controlled at this moment and temporarily withdrew from the dominant position. The big wave came and instantly threw Ye Chen, who had turned into an ice cube, far away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 313. The battle continued. Although the Night God fleet was at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, it managed to level the situation with the help of the ferocious Octopus King. At this moment, there were less than 200 people left on both the Night God fleet and the Blueface fleet, and 3 ships of the Blueface team were destroyed. The violent Bear King, the runaway Snail, the Flame Giant and other pets were thrown into the battlefield by the Octopus King using its tentacles and fought bravely. During this period, the Octopus King was targeted and died twice, but the Big Fried Chicken immediately used the Resurrection Grass to revive and summon again. Under the powerful attack of the Octopus King, the enemy couldn't help but feel terrified. The Octopus King is now a pet, and it can be resurrected after dying. It's useless to kill him many times. And now we have fewer and fewer people, and it's more difficult to fight the Octopus King. That's right. Killing the Octopus King is useless, we have to kill the trainer. If the trainer is killed, not only the Octopus King, but also the Violent Bear King and the Flame Giant will all disappear. That's what I said, but that guy is hiding on the head of the Octopus King. Even if we attack him, the Octopus King will raise his tentacles to block, we can't get close to him and can't kill him at all. Well, we have no way in this situation. We can only rely on Lan Yan, after all, he has wings. Boss Lan Yan thought of it a long time ago, but he is now stopped by Ye Shen. Everyone, look. Boss Lan Yan has controlled Ye Shen. In the bombardment of the Octopus King, the Lan Yan fleet was beaten to the point of losing temper. They were completely helpless, so they put their hopes on Lan Yan. On the other side, Lan Yan used condensation to break Ye Chen's firm will and further freeze him. Then he used the sea wave to lift Ye Chen, who had just approached, away. The next moment, Ye Chen stopped flying backwards, the ice on his body shattered and fell to the ground, and he regained his dominance. Unexpectedly, Lan Yan had a third chain, the ice array. After Lan Yan released the sea wave, he immediately used the ice array. He even calculated the distance that Ye Chen was pushed back by the sea wave. At this time, Ye Chen had not yet stood firm, but was frozen into an ice block again. Hiss! What kind of control is this? So scary. Control to death at once, Boss Ye Shen can't fight back at all. Like Lan Yan's fleet, everyone in the Ye Shen fleet was also observing the two people's decisive battle. Because the Octopus King is now untargeted, he can do whatever he wants, which is safe. At this time, Lan Yan wanted to go over and hit the Octopus King, but Ye Chen stopped him. So, the key to this battle has been dominated by the victory or defeat of the two. Now the situation is very clear. In this PK between the two, the winner can lead the fleet to victory. At this moment, seeing Ye Chen being controlled, everyone in the Ye Shen fleet tightened their hearts. They didn't expect that Lan Yan's control was so strong. Ice Spear. The next moment, under the gaze of countless people, Lan Yan elegantly stretched out his hand and suddenly pinched it in the void, and an ice spear that released a biting cold air appeared out of thin air. Swoosh! The sound of breaking through the air sounded, and the ice spear shot at Ye Chen at an unparalleled speed, minus 4,520. As a huge damage emerged, the blood bar above Ye Chen's head dropped to the bottom, but fortunately, there was still a little bit left. Ice explosion. Minus 8,392. Looking at the blood on Ye Chen's head, Lan Yan gritted his teeth, but still decisively snapped his fingers. Immediately, the ice on Ye Chen's body exploded, causing huge damage, and Ye Chen died. Huh, Lan Yan won after all. After all, he is the king. Lan Yan is so handsome, he controlled the whole way and directly crushed Ye Shen. 6,666, Lan Yan will win. Seeing Ye Chen fall, the Lan Yan fleet was relieved. Next, as long as Lan Yan killed the Octopus King, the war would come to an end. However, they thought so, but the Ye Shen fleet did not think so, because they knew that Ye Chen could be resurrected. Resurrection. A flash of white light, and Ye Chen's body, which had fallen, stood up again under Lan Yan's shocked eyes. Swish! With his feet on the ground, Ye Chen propped up his snake wings and flew up, breaking away from the ice magic circle. This time he did not rush to Lan Yan, but rushed to a small team of enemy troops. Blade Storm. Amid the puzzled eyes of the crowd, Ye Chen turned into a battle gyroscope, and after spinning for only 1 second, he killed 3 players in a row. The special effect of the tidal Abyss Demon was activated, add 90% HP in an instant. Replenish HP directly. Shadow Attack. Ye Chen knocked down an enemy with a stick, and then turned into a residual image, teleporting behind Lan Yan. However, Lan Yan had already predicted it, and teleported away with a flash. At this time, Ye Chen's offensive could not be restrained, and he used both hands to stab the dagger into the void, piercing the heart. Swoosh, red light shot out, extending more than 10 yards, but it was empty. What a strong piercing! Haha, it missed. No matter how strong it is, it's useless. Everyone was shocked again. At this time, Ye Chen continued to attack, and while activating the hegemony, he instantly locked Lan Yan's position and used Flying Thunder God to throw a dart. Ye Chen teleported again, stepped on the dart, and cut Lan Yan's throat with the sharp dagger, slit the throat. The dagger pierced the air with a bang, but at the critical moment, Taishan charged like a bull. Charging also has a repulsive effect, of course. Ye Chen's hegemony, he did not knock it away. But when Ye Chen swung the dagger, he helped Lan Yan block it rebound. Ye Chen slashed down with his sword, only to feel that he hit a mirror, and then a huge reflected force blasted it out, so fast that it exploded the air and generated shock waves. Ye Chen was a domineering body, but he was bounced away. With a bang, he directly broke a flagpole. The battle was not one-on-one from the beginning. You know, this is not a formal competition, but a wild plunder. At this moment, the two fleets were fighting, and the whole battle was dominated by Ye Chen and Lan Yan. In fact, many people wanted to help, but they just couldn't spare their hands. At this moment, Taishan shook off the enemy and rushed to support as soon as possible. Ice Cone. Now Taishan arrived and joined forces with Lan Yan. Taishan was responsible for defense, while Lan Yan was responsible for output. Ye Chen stood up and flapped his wings, rushing out again, but Taishan was blocking in front of him like an indestructible iron wall. He couldn't break it in a short time, let alone get around it. And Lan Yan took the opportunity to wander around and output. Although Ye Chen is a tyrant, his HP is gradually reduced under frequent attacks, and he is slowed down again. This is not a solution. Lan Yan's control is very strong. I will be finished when the next wave of skills cool down. Ye Chen's eyes were stern, and he took out a magic crystal bomb with his bare hands. At this moment, Lan Yan and Taishan were both stunned. Bang! Ye Chen knew that Taishan would rebound, so he didn't dare to throw it, and directly smashed the magic crystal bomb to the ground. It exploded in an instant. You know, bombs can be released even without cannons, but the damage and range are not satisfactory. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 314. Take the magic crystal bomb for example. If it is assisted by a cannon, it will have a group attack of 50,000 and a range of 60 yards. If it is released alone, it will only have a group attack of 5,000 and a range of 10 yards. This range is enough. Ye Chen directly exploded a magic crystal bomb at his feet, and a huge energy storm rose into the sky and spread over a radius of 10 yards. The ship where the explosion occurred happened to be Lan Yan's side. The storm quickly disintegrated, and a big pit was blown into the ship, but the damage to the ship was not as serious as it seemed on the surface. It was just deducted more than 4,000 HP. The ship has a high HP of 100,000, so what is a small HP of more than 4,000? On the surface of the big black pit, there were some bodies of Lan Yan's fleet members, including Lan Yan himself. In the previous battle, Lan Yan was hit by Xiao He. Now that the ice armor has cooled down, he was attacked by the magic crystal bomb and died directly. Poor Lan Yan didn't expect that he would be killed by a bomb after fighting to this point. A magic crystal bomb killed Lan Yan directly and changed the situation. At that time, Taishan was right next to him, and he really couldn't rebound. Just as Ye Chen expected, Taishan could only rebound unless he used a giant shield to take over the entity. Taishan was naturally attacked by the magic crystal bomb, but he stood dignified, and the blood bar above his head dropped by less than a quarter. You know, bombs are group attacks, not direct damage. The so-called group attack will reduce damage according to the target's defense. If the target has no defense at all, 5,000 points of attack will cause 5,000 points of damage. If the target has defense, it will decrease in sequence. It can be seen that Taishan's HP is not only terrifying, but also his defense is extremely strong. Taishan stared at Ye Chen coldly and shouted, "Retreat." Of course he is not afraid of Ye Chen, he is afraid of the Octopus King. Although his defense can easily withstand the Octopus King has very excellent group attack capabilities, and it is useless for him to withstand it alone. At that time, the Octopus King will still kill all his companions. He still lacks a wing after all. With Taishan's roar, the ships of the Blueface fleet began to start. Ye Chen and others joined forces with the Octopus King to beat them up one last time and let them escape. Big Fried Chicken stood on the head of the Octopus King, looked at Ye Chen on the deck, and said, "Brother, why don't you chase them? If you really want to chase them, your Octopus King can't catch up with the speed of the ship." Ye Chen said, "Without the Octopus King, we will also consume when fighting them. There is no need to consume now, just concentrate on getting the first kill of the national boss." Hearing this, everyone nodded. Just to drive away the Blueface fleet, they have lost half of their men and horses, and now there are only more than 150 people left. If they continue to consume, it will never end, and it will also benefit those hidden forces in vain. The most important thing now is to grab the first kill of the national boss. Woo! Accompanied by the sound of the whistle, the fleet started, turned around and headed towards island number 5. When they arrived at island number 5, on the other side, in the waters near island number 4, the Lanyan fleet welcomed another fleet. The user of the ship will cause a faint halo to appear on the surface of the ship. The light camp is a white halo. The dark camp is a black halo. The neutral camp is a yellow halo. The fleet that is speeding over at this moment is emitting the same black halo as the Lanyan fleet, indicating that they are also a force in the dark camp. Not long after, the two armies met. Taishan has amazing jumping ability. With a sudden jump, he came to the deck of the opponent's main battleship. "Ghost Disciple, you are a step late." Taishan said, "I said that everyone should act together, but you insisted on acting alone." In front of Taishan, there is a young man wearing a hooded black robe with a stern look. He is the Ghost Disciple mentioned by Taishan. "I heard that Lanyan was killed." "Who is it?" The Ghost Disciple spoke silently, but there was a hint of hidden excitement in his eyes. That hint of excitement was very subtle and fleeting, but Taishan still captured it keenly and couldn't help sighing. He understood Goitu's excitement very well, because this group of people has already reached the top of the game field. Their battlefield is in the late game. In the International Championship. Because at that time, the kings of other countries will show up. In the early game, they had no opponents at all, and it was really boring to crush them all the way. Now there are newcomers rising, and their already cooled and numb blood is boiling again. Well, Lanyan was killed by the magic crystal bomb. "The man is Ye Chen, a player from the light camp," Taishan said. Goitu nodded, let's go meet him." "Hey, where is Susu?" "Susu was targeted from the beginning, otherwise Lanyan wouldn't have died," Taishan explained. "Interesting, really interesting." Goitu silently recited Ye Chen's name, and his interest became stronger and stronger. With a wave of his hand, he led the fleet to rush towards island number 5. Taishan and others also followed, because they were originally in the same team, not an ordinary team, but a king team. Taishan is a shield warrior. No matter how strong he is only a supporting profession. So he called for team battles more than once. However, in the team, those kings are not easy to deal with, they are arrogant and advocate single-player battles. Taishan's position is extremely annoying. He is obviously the king, but he is rejected by his teammates, only Lan Yan is willing to take him in. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. The Yashin fleet arrived at island number 5. After landing, they put the ships away. Yachin walked to the foot of a big tree, pushed aside the grass and inserted a detection device. In this way, if an enemy comes to island number 5, he will know it immediately. Old duck, let's split up and look for the national boss, Yechen said to the thieves squad. Lao Yat and others nodded, and after sneaking, they rushed in different directions. Tank, you move towards the center of the island. Once you find the boss, starting from the center of the island is the shortest way. Yechen gave instructions and left in stealth. More than 10 minutes later, Mao Mao was the first to find the boss and sent the coordinates to the team channel. Boss coordinate collection. Yechen shouted in the team channel, activated the wind step, turned around and rushed towards the boss coordinates. He was very fast, and he was not far from the boss coordinates. He arrived at his destination and met the kitten in less than 3 minutes. At this time, including the two of them, there were only 7 thieves present. The rest of the thieves, as well as the large group led by Tank, are on their way. Boss, the thieves greeted him after seeing him. Yechen nodded, hid in the grass, and locked his sights on the boss 50 yards away, which was a huge fire lion. Substantial flames burn on the surface of the body, making it appear very powerful. Beside it, there are many red lion cubs. Of course, this small is only relative to boss, but it is actually quite large, about 3 yards in length. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 315. Red Flame Lion, National Lord. At this point I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow diamondsuit. Level 45. HP, / Skills. Flame Lion, Elite. Level 44. HP, / Skills, Fireball, Savage Charge, Intimidation. When Yechen looked over, the thieves also looked over, with a smile on their lips. Since it is a fire boss, it is stable. Because Yechen is the preacher of the god of fire, the fire resistance is so high that it makes people tremble. Even if it is a boss, it is probably not able to deal much damage. Sure enough, Yechen rushed forward in one step and fought in the siege of the lions. Blood Blade. Poison. War Roar. Yechen opened the buff and killed the lions screaming. The fireballs of the flame lion hit Yechen, but each one could only deal more than 100 points of damage. A dozen fireballs could only deal less than 2000 points of damage. Blood Blade, Abyss Demon, Self-Recovery. Yechen recovered blood by slashing people, killing people, and drinking milk, without any fear. In a few seconds, he killed several flame lions in a row. At this time, he found that although he had more than 300 fire strength, the damage was not as high as he imagined, and it was only increased by more than double. This shows that the fire resistance of the flame lion is also quite high, at least 200 points. If the flame lion is like this, the red flame lion must be even more terrifying. Yechen replaced the red flame dagger and put on the frost dagger. Frost dagger, purple quality. Level 40. Physical attack, 401429. Strength add 97. Ice attribute attack. Ice attribute enhancement add 65. Special effect, when attacking, there is a 5% chance of freezing the enemy. This frost dagger was forged by collecting a fist-sized piece of drift ice when Yechen was doing the hidden mission of Ice Queen. It has natural ice attribute attack and super high ice strength. When the old blacksmith forged it, the frost dagger was only level 25. Yechen knew that there would be super high fire resistance monsters in the later stage. and monsters with high fire resistance usually have low ice resistance, so Ye Chen saved it and upgraded it with forging. Swish! Ye Chen slashed the flame lion with a knife, stirring up white smoke, and really dealt explosive damage. With the assistance of Xiao He, the ordinary attack dealt end damage with one knife. This damage is actually just Ye Chen's normal damage. But now his fire strength is resisted, and if he uses the red flame dagger, he can only deal about 6,000 damage. So at this time, using the frost dagger is the kingly way. In the later stage, Ye Chen became an intermediate preacher of Oz or even an advanced preacher of Oz. After the fire power increased further, the frost dagger might be useless. Blade Storm and Final Blow. Destruction Storm. Ye Chen turned into a gyroscope, stirring up a whirlwind around him, strangling the lions. At this time, countless ice darts flew out of the gyroscope, strangling in all directions. In 3 seconds, the flame lion was cleared, and the red flame lion also suffered a lot of damage. Zhenxing, level 6. The red flame lion roared, and its heavy hooves raised and fell suddenly, causing a strong earthquake. This earthquake was not a fire attack, and Ye Chen did not dare to be arrogant, and hurriedly opened the hegemony. With a bang, Ye Chen's HP still dropped by 1/3 under the hegemony, which shows how strong the red flame lion's Zhenxing is. But then he took out a milk bottle, instantly restored his HP to full value, and then chopped wildly with the frost dagger. The special effects of the frost dagger were triggered, freezing the red flame lion from time to time. Ordinary attacks are more than 10,000, skills are 40,000 to 90,000, and piercing and killing are more than 200,000. In just 1 minute, the red flame lion was crushed to the ground. A dignified national boss was actually slaughtered. Not long after, Tank led a large group to rush over, looking at the body of the red flame lion under Ye Chen's feet, dumbfounded. From the discovery of the boss to now, it has been no more than 5 minutes, and you have killed it. Tank glanced at Ye Chen, and his mouth twitched. Everyone looked at Ye Chen as if they had seen a ghost, speechless. Any fire system will be suppressed by me. Ye Chen smiled low-key, and Huo Wu and other fire mages also nodded in agreement. They probably couldn't beat Ye Chen even if more than 100 fire mages joined together. Attribute crushing, no way. By the way, Ye Chen, the red flame lion is a national lord. How much fire energy did you get after killing it? Huo Wu asked. I forgot, Ye Chen replied awkwardly. He went to hell twice some time ago, and his fire energy has exceeded 1 million. Although it has exceeded 1 million, it is still very far from the 10 million fire energy required to be promoted to Intermediate Evangelist of Oz. On this basis, he needs to contribute 10,000 fire energy points to the God of Oz and 5,000 fire energy points to the Fire Dragon every day. The daily consumption is 15,000 fire energy. But he still has 300 believers, and his daily task is 10 fire energy points, and he can also receive 3,000 fire energy contributions every day. In other words, only 12,000 fire energy is needed per day. Now that he has exceeded 1 million fire energy points, it is enough to consume hundreds of days. So he has paid little attention to it. At this moment, the red flame lion has been killed, and Huo Wu asked, "It is difficult for him to calculate. I really admire you. But a flame lion can have 30 points of fire energy," Huo Wu said, and Ye Chen was shocked. Taking in Ye Chen's expression, Huo Wu smiled and said, "Ye Chen, actually we can put a base on island number 5 and let the believers farm the flame lion. You can increase the tribute paid in daily tasks and be promoted to an intermediate evangelist as soon as possible. Further increase the fire power." This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Hearing this, Ye Chen took a deep breath. He is a preacher and has the authority to issue daily tasks to his followers, and he can change them at any time. What he is releasing now is 10 points of fire energy. It doesn't matter if he changes it to 10 points. If the believer fails to complete the daily tasks, he can also impose penalties such as deducting experience, imposing curses, or even directly erasing his or her identity as a believer. But now his believers are all his own people, and there is no need for him to let his own people be punished. Brothers and sisters, Yeshen is our leader. Now we are not dominant in opening up the country's map. If he is strong, we will be stronger. Huowu turned to look at the army behind him and said with a smile, I am willing to dedicate all my fire energy to him. What about you? Willing. I do too. For a moment, the believers took a stand. If you become a believer of the high-ranking Vulcan god, you will have 10 points of fire power and 30 points of fire resistance, which is enough for ordinary people. Only the truly strong will want to further become evangelists. Since there is no penalty for Yuchen's mission, there is no use for them to keep the fire energy, just contribute it to Yuchen, and you will not lose anything. And Yuchen became stronger, so they were naturally happy. Being surrounded by everyone, Yuchen felt warm in his heart. Looking at Huowu, I felt even more grateful. Huowu is different. She has the ability to become a preacher. If she contributes her fire energy now, she will be further and further away from the path of a preacher. Even so, her attitude was decisive. Thank you, brothers and sisters, I will not let you down. Yuchen nodded to the believers and said seriously. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 316. At this moment, the Ghost Disciple fleet has arrived in the waters near Island number 5. At this time, the national broadcast triggered by Yechen's killing of the Red Flame Lion just sounded, which surprised Taishan and others. So fast. Roughly speaking, it took Yeshen and his team less than 5 minutes to defeat the boss. Taishan's face was full of disbelief. You know, even if he and Lan Yan joined forces, it would take more than 5 minutes to defeat a national boss. However, he didn't know that the Red Flame Lion was defeated by Yechen alone, and it was not 5 minutes, but 1 minute. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. It's really interesting. Turn around and go to Island No. 6, the Ghost Disciple said excitedly. The fleet immediately changed direction and headed towards Island number 6. On the other side, Yechen changed the daily task from 10 fire points per day to 1 fire point per day. Of course, even if the task is not completed, the believers will not be punished. Yechen did this just to make it easier to absorb fire energy. On this basis, Yechen directly built a guild base on Island number 5. Sister Huowu, the believers are in your hands. Yechen gathered 300 believers and said to Huowu. Well, don't worry. Huowu nodded. Yechen smiled with satisfaction. From now on, all the fire energy absorbed by the believers will be given to him. Daily tasks are settled once every day at midnight AM at this pace, at least 3 or 4 million fire energy a day, and after 3 days, Yechen can be promoted to an intermediate preacher. Most of the 300 believers under Yechen are members of the main group. At this moment, Yechen left the believers behind, and the main group suddenly lost 2/3 of its troops. Fortunately, the base is right in front of him, and he can recruit troops at any time. He did what he said, and he directly named several elite groups to fill the 300 commanders. Let's go, head to Island No. 6. Yechen waved his hand and led the army into the sea. After the fleet sailed on the sea for 10 minutes, the figure of the Ghost Disciple fleet appeared in his sea of consciousness. At that time, Yechen deliberately inserted the detection device on the shore, which made the detection range spread to the sea. In that area, Yechen would sense everything. At this time, he saw that the Ghost Disciple fleet completely ignored Island number 5 and headed for Island number 6. Sure enough, Ye Chen smiled slightly. At this stage, those who are pioneering in Zhihaixia are undoubtedly the top forces of the three camps. There are not many of these forces, and it can even be said that there are very few. And the goal of these people is to kill the national boss first. Now that the national boss of island number 5 has been killed, no one will pay attention to it for the time being. In this way, Huo Wu and others will not be a threat, and can comfortably help Ye Chen brush fire energy. After another 5 minutes, the Ye Chen fleet successfully arrived at island number 6. The progress gap between the Ghost Disciple fleet and them is only 10 minutes, and island number 6 is the battlefield where the two armies meet. Ye Chen will neither hide nor escape, he will just face the enemy head-on. Anyway, there is a base on island number 5, and players can be replaced at any time to replenish consumption. But at this moment, the national broadcast sounded. National broadcast: congratulations to the player Yukiang Byaoxiu for completing the first kill of the National Lord Frost Giant Wolf, and get extra rewards, 25 million experience points, 18 gold coins, and 1 skill point. Frost Giant Wolf, the national boss of island number 10. Yukiang Byaoxiu, are they really coming? After a slight shock, Ye Chen suddenly realized. Since Lan Yan and others have opened up the wasteland to Zhihaixia, as a king, there is no reason for Yukiang Byaoxiu not to be there. Yukiang Byaoxiu is a player in the neutral camp and belongs to the Merchant Alliance. The neutral camp is slightly different from the two camps of light and darkness. The LV4 main cities of the two camps of light and darkness both have seaports, one on the left and one on the right, and they all face Zhihaixia. Even on island number 1, there is a possibility of encounter. The neutral camp does not have a so-called seaport. Its LV4 main city is an underwater city. And it is near island number 10. As long as you take a submarine to the surface, you can immediately reach island number 10. At this moment, Yukiang Byaoxiu came to Zhihaixia, and Shang Wang and Jian Wuhan must have come too. I believe that it will not be long before the two of them will each take the first kill of a national boss. The Merchant Alliance is the largest force in the Chinese theater. The President Shang Wang has two kings, Jian Wuhan and Yukiang Byaoxiu, to help him. They are like tigers, now they have opened their bloody mouths and revealed a ferocious posture. Ye Chen and the throne have grown to the point where they have begun to show the style of giants, but they still look pale and powerless in front of the Merchant Alliance. But Ye Chen is not afraid. It has just begun. He still has a lot of room for growth. What will happen in the future is still unknown. The Merchant Alliance. They finally came out. Tank said solemnly, the neutral camp's LV4 main city is under island number 10, which is convenient. With the strength and temper of the Merchant Alliance, they will definitely not rush to open up island number 11, but will push back. Well, the Merchant Alliance has probably already placed a base on island number 10 for its members to enter and exit freely. If it were me, I would also push back first. Ye Chen's expression also became solemn. Not long after, the national broadcasts blasted one after another. National broadcast: congratulations to player Jian Wuhan for completing the first kill of the national boss Green Python, and get extra rewards, 23 million experience points, 16 gold coins, and 1 skill point. National broadcast: congratulations to player Shang Wang for completing the first kill of the national boss Dao Hu, and get extra rewards, 22 million experience points, 15 gold coins, and 1 skill point. Green Python is the national boss of island number 9, and Dao Hu is the national boss of island number 8. Tank, you really didn't guess wrong, Uncle Soy Sauce laughed. In the whole scene, only he could laugh easily. Islands number 8, 9, and 10 have been taken, and now only islands number 6 and number 7 are left. The Merchant Alliance will turn around soon, and the Ghost Fleet behind is also catching up. We must seize the time to take the national boss of island No. 6. Ye Chen waved his hand and rushed into island number 6 with the army. The thieves' squads dispersed to explore, while Tank led the main group to move towards the center of the island. 10 minutes later, the boss was found. It was an unusually huge lizard with a layer of shiny yellow scales on its body. Its head resembled a dinosaur, and its limbs had claws that were sharp enough to tear apart wild beasts. The overall combination made it feel thicker than ordinary lizards. Dragon Lizard, Country Lord. Level 45. HP, / Skills. Many people say that lizards are the predecessors of dinosaurs, so this dragon lizard is closer to dinosaurs. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 317. The dragon lizard is strong and powerful, but not as bulky as a real dinosaur, and looks flexible and agile. There are also a group of poisonous lizards around the dragon lizard. The ghost fleet should have landed, so we should fight quickly and decisively, Ye Chen said. He did not install a detection device on island number 6, so he could not sense it at all. But according to the time, the ghost fleet should be on the shore soon. Change clothes. Poison bracelet. Ye Chen turned on the buff, changed the equipment, and rushed out. Killed 2 poisonous lizards in an instant, and accumulated combo points. Blade Storm and Final Strike. Destruction Storm. As the LV of the Blade Storm gets higher and higher, the sword energy it arouses becomes stronger and stronger, and the gyroscope becomes larger and larger. Ye Chen rotated for 3 seconds, shooting countless flaming darts in all directions, clearing all the poisonous lizards in one wave. And let the dragon lizard be injured. Soon, Ye Chen had the dragon lizard's hatred firmly grasped, and seeing this, all the warriors also rushed forward. The berserker slashed wildly, and soon accumulated rage, entered the hegemony state, and doubled the damage. But even if their damage doubled, it was far less than Ye Chen's output. Output with all your strength, Ye Chen shouted. When he was fighting monsters, there was no OT at all, because his output was too high, far exceeding that of others. It was impossible for the main group members to snatch hatred from him. Unless Ye Chen died. After 5 seconds of concentrated fire, the dragon lizard's HP dropped by 700,000, leaving only half of its health. Among them, Ye Chen's personal contribution exceeded 400,000. This is the difference. At this time, Ye Chen also withdrew from the hegemony. Sweep. In the rage of the dragon lizard, the iron-like long tail swept, and in addition to the hegemony berserker, Ye Chen and the front row of warriors were swept away. Due to their different defenses, different damage appeared on their heads. Minus 2,390. Minus 920. Minus 872. Minus 832. Although Ye Chen was wearing a leather armor set, the hell set was a gold suit, and the base was extremely high. Moreover, the chest armor was a sacred artifact, the black leather coat, and the black leather coat also had a 30% damage reduction effect, so the damage he received at this moment was not much. Of course, those berserkers in the dominance state were even more fearless. Self-recovery. Add 2,435. Ye Chen took out a milk bottle and held it in his mouth, and his HP was instantly restored by 40%. In an instant, the lost HP was replenished. Now the self-recovery has reached LV8, restoring 40% of the HP, which is extremely powerful. Dochi. Time is running out. If Ye Chen continues to be wretched and wait for the martial arts to cool down, the team is likely to have OT. Ye Chen didn't want this, so he directly turned on the Dochi hard anal. Flying Thunder God. Ye Chen threw a dart, then teleported and stepped on it, wielding the red flame dagger and slashing again. The front line warriors, as well as the back line mages and archers, were also powerful output. As long as Ye Chen did not retreat, they could output without worry. The dragon lizard felt pain again and again, staring at Ye Chen with cold eyes, and constantly attacking with its claws and long tail. Gensing level 2. The dragon lizard's normal attack, with the passive Gensing level 2, caused the ground on the ground to crack and vibrate. Except for the tyrant berserker, the rest of the people in the front row, including Ye Chen, were affected by the Gensing and fell to the ground from time to time. The berserker and the backline ranged were still outputting. After a few seconds, the dragon lizard's HP was further reduced, leaving less than 300,000 HP. The dragon lizard still targeted Ye Chen and attacked frantically, but all the priests in the team were helping Ye Chen to add blood and blessings. This also included the powerful blessing of Ian's elf dragon baby. This made it impossible for the dragon lizard to kill Ye Chen in a short time. Roar! Big Fried Chicken finally summoned the Octopus King. The Octopus King and the Dragon Lizard are both national lords. The Octopus King's attributes may not be superior, and after becoming a pet, its HP is only a pitiful 40,000, which is too little. Its body is huge, like a living target, and it may die if it is targeted by the Dragon Lizard. Big Fried Chicken didn't want to reduce its favorability, so it didn't summon it until the battle was coming to an end. Beat it crazily. Bang bang bang. The Octopus King raised countless tentacles and beat the Dragon Lizard crazily, causing the land to crack and smoke and dust to rise. In the smoke and dust, the Dragon Lizard screamed and did not fall, and its HP dropped by tens of thousands. Binding. After the attack, the Octopus King continued to attack, and it suddenly raised 6 tentacles and tied up the Dragon Lizard. Fried Chicken, good job, everyone roared excitedly, and another wave of concentrated fire, and the Dragon Lizard's HP was only 100,000 points. At this time, the Dragon Lizard's earthy yellow eyes suddenly turned red, and it became violent. Dinosaurs are violent, and the Dragon Lizard has some of the dinosaur genes, and it became violent in an instant. The ferocious appearance is terrifying. It bit the octopus tentacles like a mad dog, and actually tore them apart. The Octopus King roared in pain, and instantly loosened the other tentacles tied to the Dragon Lizard. Then he pulled it back. But the Dragon Lizard suddenly reached out and grabbed it, bursting out a thunderous dragon roar, and actually pulled the huge Octopus King through its tentacles. Hiss! What kind of strange power is this? My God, the Octopus King is nearly 100 yards in size, and it was pulled. Looking at the scene in front of them, everyone's eyes almost popped out. However, something even more terrifying happened at the moment. Not only did it pull, the Dragon Lizard grabbed the tentacles and exerted force, and actually threw the Octopus King away. On the way, the Octopus King's huge body became a weapon, sweeping away all the mages and archers in the back row. Fortunately, this wave of momentum was very strong, but it was just a normal attack. The back row of ranged were all thrown away, and their HP dropped sharply, but no one died. The Dragon Lizard threw the Octopus King away, his eyes were still red, and he moved forward with 4 legs, carrying a gust of cold wind, and killed the army. At this time, at 9 o'clock, a black shadow rushed over quickly. Its speed was so fast that it left a trail of after-images behind it. This guy was wearing a hooded black robe, and the weapon in his hand was a steel glove. His target was the Dragon Lizard. On the other side, Ye Chen also attacked suddenly, and came to the front of the Dragon Lizard first. After a strong attack and a spinning stab, he quickly accumulated combo points. At this time, the Dragon Lizard's HP was less than 50,000, and the red flame dagger in Ye Chen's hand flashed a dazzling red light, and stabbed down like lightning. At the same time, the black ball shot by the black-robed man also hit the Dragon Lizard. Bang! The Dragon Lizard's body was shot through, and red light shot out, extending more than 10 yards. At the same time, black waves appeared on the Dragon Lizard's body, and it exploded. The terrifying black ability swept Ye Chen next to it into it. Dash! 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 3 injuries appeared at the same time, and the first 2 appeared on the dragon lizard, and it was dead. And Yechen was also affected by the explosion, reducing 130,000 plus HP and was killed instantly. National broadcast: congratulations to players Yechen and Goi2 for completing the first kill of the National Lord Dragon Lizard and receiving additional rewards, 10.5 million experience points, 8 gold coins, and 1 skill point. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 318. A wild boss was killed by 2 people first. The sudden broadcast shocked not only the people present, but almost the whole country. You know, the first kill of a wild boss is determined by the person who completed the last blow. But sometimes there are special situations, just like now, Yechen and Goi2 completed the last blow at the same time. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow circled M. This is very rare, because even if they attack at the same time, there will be differences due to their different speeds. Ghost Disciple. This guy is so fast. Tank and others saw the person coming and couldn't help but exclaimed, and Yechen was resurrected and retreated several steps. There is a passive resurrection skill. The Ghost Disciple looked at Yechen, and his eyes flashed with excitement. Suddenly, the Ghost Disciple was filled with ghost energy, and the black fog wrapped him. With a dragon roar, the Ghost Disciple turned into a dragon lizard. Soul hunting. Soul liberation. With these 2 skills, the Ghost Disciple can absorb the soul of the target, thereby freeing the soul and transforming into the target's form. The Ghost Disciple becomes a dragon lizard in black, and in a translucent soul state, immune to physical attacks. The Ghost Disciple has turned into a dragon lizard, and it is immune to physical attacks. In the group, someone exclaimed, and then took the magic conduction potion at the same time. Convert physical attacks into magic attacks. The back row bombarded at the same time, and countless arrows and fire dragons exploded on the black dragon lizard like fireworks, crackling. However, when their ultimate moves were used, the black dragon lizard's blood bar only flowed slightly. This almost made everyone's eyes pop out. The Ghost Disciple is level 44, and now he has turned into a dragon lizard. It is impossible for ordinary people to discern it. Even so, it is not difficult for them to judge based on the flow of his blood bar. The Ghost Disciple now has the terrifying blood volume of a dragon lizard. Abnormal. The player has millions of HP, how can we beat him? Not only that, the dragon lizard has high attributes in all aspects. A dragon lizard is a dragon lizard, no matter how strong it is just a monster with hatred judgment. But this black dragon lizard is a Ghost Disciple, it will be more difficult to deal with. Magic conduction potion, lasting for 1 minute, cooling time 5 minutes. Brothers, hurry up. The big group exclaimed and rushed up, and then suddenly attacked, focusing on the black dragon lizard. However, the black dragon lizard did not say a word, and there was even a hint of a smile in its evil eyes. Hey, don't be so anxious, you guys, I still have 10 minutes, I can play with you slowly. The black dragon lizard spoke in human language, and his words were shocking. The black dragon lizard was originally a Ghost Disciple, and it was normal for it to be able to speak, which was not surprising. What was really surprising was the meaning of his words. His dragon lizard soul state can last for 10 minutes. It's so abnormal. The more powerful the skill, the greater the limitation. The power of the Ghost Disciple's soul-stealing skill depends on the target killed. Yechen was not surprised and spoke calmly. If the Ghost Disciple kills a divine beast, he can naturally transform into the soul of the divine beast. If he kills an ordinary monster, he can only transform into the soul of an ordinary monster. So whether the skill is powerful or not sometimes depends on the player's strength. Of course, this skill is not an ordinary skill, but an exclusive skill of the hidden profession Soul Eater. Although Yechen had not dealt with the Ghost Disciple in his previous life, he had heard of the ghost disciple's name. This guy is the Soul Eater. Taking a full view of the expressions of the enemies, and looking at Ye Chen again, the black dragon lizard grinned, and a trace of admiration flashed in his eyes. In his impression, every time he used this skill, it would almost shock everyone present. It is rare to be as calm as Ye Chen. Then he began to move, and in just a few seconds he mastered the dragon lizard's body, and then moved forward with 4 claws, running towards the enemy's back row. Dream World has been running for more than 3 months, and has fully demonstrated the mystery of this magical world to players. Various powerful hidden professions have emerged like rain and dew. Gui too knew that one of the hidden professions was very restrained. That profession was the Holy Word Mage. Soul hunting, soul liberation, it is hard to say whether these two skills are strong or not, but Gui too can confidently say that they are strong, very strong. What's more, he is now the soul of the national boss. It is even more powerful. But the Holy Word Mage has the reading skill. With this skill, the Holy Word Mage can read the skills of players, monsters, and even NPCs, and then ban and seal them. After all, the Holy Word Mage is a hidden profession. Gui too is not sure whether Ye Chen's group has it, but whether it is there or not, it is always right to kill the priest and the mage first in the group battle. Roar. The black dragon lizard roared, supported the ground with 4 feet, and jumped up suddenly. Its jumping power is amazing. It swept past the front row of warriors in an instant and arrived at the back row, and then waved its claws and harvested crazily. Even the normal attack of the dragon lizard has the additional shock star level 2. Generally, monsters in soul state are immune to physical attacks. This kind of monster generally does not attack physically, and all means change their nature to become magic attacks. The black dragon lizard swings its claws, which can easily penetrate the body of the fragile profession and kill instantly. The magic energy ripples, which is a dark attribute magic attack. The claws hit the ground, and an earthquake immediately occurs, causing players within a 5-yard radius to fall to the ground. With a flick of the long tail, more than 10 people were killed in one go. CIAO. So strong, much stronger than the black dragon lizard. Nonsense, monsters have no intelligence, how can they be compared with players? The power of ghost disciples is frightening. At this time, the Octopus King took action and stretched out 6 tentacles to tightly entangle the black dragon lizard. But the ghost's reaction was astonishingly fast. The black dragon lizard bit off the tentacle in one bite, causing the Octopus King to feel pain and involuntarily let go. Immediately, the black dragon lizard grabbed the tentacle that was quickly withdrawn, rotated it in a circle, and plowed the ground, stirring up billowing smoke. The next moment, the black dragon lizard threw the Octopus King, who was countless times bigger than itself, away with his bare hands. The terrifying power caused the Octopus King to fly back in mid-air. Yelong bomb. The black dragon lizard opened its mouth to an unimaginable degree, and the cocky energy condensed into an expanding yellow ball. The next moment, the yellow ball flew out, quickly caught up with the Octopus King, and immediately hit it and exploded. With a bang, the smoke and dust scattered, and everyone only heard the Octopus King's miserable howl. When the smoke and dust dissipated, the Octopus King was nowhere to be seen. He was knocked out. The corners of the big fried chicken's mouth twitched. King Octopus is the lord of the country after all. Even if he becomes a pet now, he still has 40,000 HP. In the previous battle, King Octopus was also attacked, but he still had about 20,000 HP. Now he was killed instantly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 319. What's with that energy cannon-like skill? Dragon lizards have such skills. The strength of the ghost disciple slowly revealed itself, and everyone was sweating and panicking. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow Diamond Suit. Since the sub-dragon bullet has been released, it is most likely the skill of the dragon lizard, but the dragon lizard was killed before and did not release it. There is only one possibility. The release requirements of the sub-dragon bullet are extremely high. The dragon lizard did not meet the conditions when it died in battle. But the ghost disciple can do it easily. It's not just a skill, the ghost disciple himself is the king. Big Fried Chicken was shocked. He believed in the strong, and the ghost disciple's initial display of strength had been recognized by him. As the master of the Octopus King, he was the most deeply touched when the Octopus King was killed. You know, the ghost disciple turned into the soul of the dragon lizard, and the Octopus King was not a big threat to it. It can be thrown away. Why kill it with a sub-dragon bullet? You know, if you use the dragon bomb to blow up the enemy, you can kill at least dozens of people. In this case, the ghost disciple did not do so. There is only one reason. The ghost disciple did not fight seriously at all, but was playing wantonly. As the ghost disciple said, he has 10 minutes to play slowly. 10 minutes, no, I'm afraid it won't take 10 minutes, he can kill all the enemies. When he thought of this, the Big Fried Chicken couldn't help but sweat. Such an enemy is too terrifying and too tricky. Like the Big Fried Chicken, everyone couldn't help but cast their eyes on Ye Chen. The battle started for less than a minute, and the ghost disciple had killed dozens of people in a row. The large group formation had already collapsed and rotten. At this time, the human wave tactics seemed to be useless. A backbone leader is still needed. Ye Chen finally moved. The Hand of Hell. I saw a huge black hole behind the black dragon lizard for no reason, and then a dark and hideous demon arm stretched out from it. Silently, this is the power that transcends space. Ah! The black dragon lizard was caught for no reason and screamed. Then the Hand of Hell exerted force and threw it out. The speed was so fast that it was like a waterfall rushing down. The black dragon lizard broke countless giant trees along the way and retreated 1,000 yards away. This is also the limit distance of the Hand of Hell. Everyone was shocked and speechless. The ghost disciple is too strong. Even if you kill him by force, you will have to pay a huge price, Ye Chen said. Now, except for him who is level 41, everyone in the group is only level 40. If he dies, he will only be level 39, the equipment level will be reduced, and he cannot use the level 40 ultimate move. This is very serious. Ye Chen does not need to let the team take this risk. What's more, even if the ghost disciple is killed, there is no benefit. Be cautious in your words and deeds. Don't be impulsive, don't be reckless, and have a sense of the overall situation. Uncle Soy Sauce looked at Ye Chen, secretly estimated in his heart, and an appreciative smile appeared on his face. The Merchant Alliance is pushing back from island number 10, and the Ghost Fleet is following closely behind us. It can be said that there are wolves in front and tigers behind us. Ye Chen pondered for a second and said, turn around, take a long way, and head towards Island No. 11. Island number 11? The Merchant Alliance should have arrived at Island number 7. After killing the national boss, Islands number 1 to 10 will all collapse. Tank touched his chin and pondered, with their progress, it won't be long before they reach Island number 11, and continue to push forward. Everyone was shocked. That's not good, we are outnumbered, the Merchant Alliance is the leader after all, and we are not enough to deal with it now. Ye Chen nodded and said, well. This time we will take a longer way and arrive at island number 20 before starting to push forward. Well, that's the only way. Everyone nodded, quickly cleaned up the battlefield, and the army turned around under Ye Chen's command. On the other side, the black dragon lizard was thrown thousands of yards away and came directly to the shore of the island. Coward! You actually avoided fighting. The ghost cursed, but a smile appeared on his face. Even he couldn't help but admire Ye Chen's decisiveness. In that situation, not fighting was the most correct decision. Ye Chen, there's no point in running, you're already involved. It's not just me, those guys won't be able to help but trouble you. Hey, it's really exciting. The ghost disciple muttered to himself, then controlled the dragon lizard's body to leave, ready to reunite with Taishan and others first. In an instant, he was pulled away by 1,000 yards. Even if he chased back, I'm afraid the enemy would have left long ago. In this case, he didn't want to waste time. A few minutes later, the ghost disciple reunited with Taishan and others in the form of a black dragon lizard. Taishan and others seemed to have gotten used to it, and they were not surprised to see the black dragon lizard. Ghost disciple, you really caught up with me, how is the battle going? Taishan walked to the side of the black dragon lizard and asked with a smile. He naturally knew the skills of the ghost disciple, and only by killing the boss personally could he complete the soul capture. What's more, the national broadcast sounded earlier. It's okay. After all, the opponent is me, and it's already very good that they can escape. The black dragon lizard grinned and laughed. Hearing this, Taishan's mouth twitched, and he kicked forward. There are always people who are better than you, be low-key. It's because you guys are too arrogant that I don't want to team up with you. Looking at Taishan's flying kick, the ghost disciple sneered, without dodging, and slapped the ground with his claws first, causing an earthquake. Taishan quickly retracted his move to block it. With a bang, the scene was deadlocked. Team, commander, and even members of the guild attacking each other is transparent by default, but it is only a default. Players can also force attacks on each other. At this moment, Goitu and Taishan were obviously just joking. They have long been accustomed to this. After all, they are all at the top of the pyramid and no one is willing to submit to anyone else. Tisk, don't flatter yourself. You are still unwilling to team up with us. No one wants you as a burden, right? Goitu sneered. Taishan's mouth twitched and he had nothing to say. Because Goitu was right, those guys didn't want to team up with him because they thought he was a burden. As a king, he was so disliked by others that he sometimes felt hurt. Just when Goitu and Taishan despised and disliked each other, a fleet suddenly appeared in the sea ahead. This fleet includes 8 ships, which is almost the configuration of the commander of 2 majors. A layer of yellow halo shrouded the ships, indicating a neutral camp. It should be 2 of the Shangwang, Wuhan, and Bioxu. Taishan looked at the fleet ahead and guessed. You guessed wrong, it's Shangwang and Wuhan. And Bioxu is probably still on the way to Island No. 7. Gato laughed. You know, islands number 8 and number 9 are horizontal. In other words, the distance from these 2 islands to island number 7 is the same. The ones who attacked islands number 8 and number 9 before were Shangwang and Wuhan. According to the time, they went to island number 7 at the same time, and ignored it, and directly handed it over to Bioxu behind. Now, they are heading to island number 6 to continue to push the enemy back. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 320. Tisk, do you think I can't guess? I'm just too lazy to bother, Taishan said unconvinced. He really didn't expect that Goitu would be so shameless that he would argue with him even for such a small matter. Too lazy to bother? Are you slow to react? You can figure out this kind of thing after thinking about it, so why bother? Goitu sneered. His big mouth made the huge face of the dragon lizard present a smug expression. Looking at the 2 people arguing, everyone in the fleet was speechless. This kind of thing is not important at all, but the 2 of them are arguing with each other, emphasizing their own positions, and they look like they may fight at any time. They are still kings, and doing this kind of thing, don't they think it's cheap? Shangwang, Wuhan, they are coming. Stop talking nonsense, do you want to do it? Taishan couldn't argue anymore, so he quickly changed the subject. We must do it. 2v2, what's there to be afraid of? Goitu said, and stopped arguing with Taishan. He suddenly jumped and stomped on the ground and came to the ship. Taishan also boarded the ship, and the fleet rushed out. In less than 2 minutes, it collided with the other fleet, stirring up waves. Then, the armies of both sides began to fight. At this time, the black dragon lizard actually opened its wings and fighting spirit. Black fighting spirit means that the ghost disciple is in the dark and strong flow. Of course, this is not the key. The key is that the ghost disciple actually opened it in the state of the black dragon lizard. This means that the ghost disciple can still use his skills in the state of soul capture. Since he has such ability, he did not use it when fighting with Ye Chen. This can only mean one thing: he was really just playing before, and now he is facing the two kings, Shang Wang and Jian Wuhan, at the same time, and he showed his full strength. On the other side, the Ye Chen fleet has left island number 6 and headed towards island number 20 by the original route. The Shang Wang fleet and the Ghost Disciple fleet opened fire in the waters near island number 6, and a deafening sound broke out. Ye Chen and others could vaguely hear it, but they could not watch the battle, which was quite a pity. A battle of the king level, if I could watch it, I would die without regrets. Tank, Big Fried Chicken and others looked at the endless sea and said with fascination. They could only hear the sound but could not see it. Give up, you guys. If we don't gain further advantage, we may have no place to stand on the national battlefield. Ye Chen sat on the deck, combing Xiao Hong's feathers. Xiao Hong chirped happily, raised her neck proudly, and looked like she was enjoying it. The national battlefield, I didn't dare to think about it before, but now I have the opportunity to step on it. Tank sighed with excitement in his eyes. Hearing this, everyone had the same expression. Haha, since you have stepped in, you have to do a good job. There will be a world battlefield in the future. You don't just want to be a spectator, right? Ye Chen said with a smile. At this point, if you talk about retreating, you are a weak person. And now it has just begun, and the future is even more unknown. Well, since you are on the stage, you naturally have to perform hard and let the world look at you, everyone said. Being influenced by Ye Chen also aroused boiling blood. The fleet sailed for an hour, past island number 10, and came to another deep sea area. Although the sea was calm, Ye Chen did not dare to be careless. If his memory was correct, there were a total of 5 great white sharks in the sea area between island number 10 and island number 20. Great white sharks are very fast in the sea, and they are better than ships. If you are unlucky, you may be besieged by 5 great white sharks at the same time. Strange sea area, all troops on alert, Ye Chen shouted. Hearing this, the whole group was focused, stopped playing, and paid attention to the movements of the sea around them. The fleet was still speeding. In order to avoid entering the field of vision of the enemy's reconnaissance device, it deliberately detoured the original route. Now it is free to go straight to island number 20. The 4 ships are moving in parallel, and wherever they pass, they plow up waves. Half an hour later, in the waters near island number 18, someone in the group found unusual waves on the sea surface and exclaimed. There are also some here. There were people watching at the bow and stern, and people on both sides exclaimed at this moment. Oh my God, 2 big guys? What could it be? Or great white sharks? According to the system map, the names of monsters within a fixed range can be found. Everyone found that there were also great white sharks in the sea area, so they made such an inference. When they thought that the fleet would be attacked by 2 great white sharks from front and back, everyone couldn't help but feel their scalps tingling. With a bang, the great white sharks broke out of the water, 2 at the bow and 1 at the stern, a total of 3 great white sharks. Damn it! There are actually 3, the captains cursed and stopped the ship. Since they met, they must fight. Otherwise, the great white sharks can completely catch up with the ship, and the continuous collision is enough to destroy the ship. You know, the ship is also quite expensive. Even if Yechen offers half the price, it is 500 yuan for one ship. This is one aspect. If the ship is destroyed and the members fall into the sea, won't they be slaughtered by the great white sharks? Tank, the two ends of the bow are yours, use the fishing net and try to delay. Yechen instructed Tank, and then said, Zaiji, Lan, let's kill the one at the stern first. As he said that, Yechen led the two to move towards the stern. On the way, Yechen activated the buff, Dazaiji summoned a pet, and Lan summoned the elf dragon to further enhance Yechen. Woo! With a humming sound, the Octopus King appeared in the sea near the fleet, and immediately stretched out 6 tentacles to entangle the great white shark. The great white shark is worthy of being the overlord of the sea. It is so powerful that it can drag the huge Octopus King directly on the sea. But it is called flying, but in fact its current speed is much slower than the normal speed. Yechen spread his snake wings and could easily catch up and attack with all his strength. The great white shark couldn't escape at all. After Yechen used a set of skills, including 2 finishing moves, he knocked down nearly half of the great white shark's health. Almost 650,000. This damage burst is already the limit of what Yechen has achieved so far, and it is still under the powerful blessing of the elf dragon baby. This damage is naturally extremely terrifying. But now that he has come to the national battlefield, various kings have appeared one after another, and he also feels the pressure. After all, he is playing the extreme burst flow. If he is not far ahead in the damage burst, what can he use to compete with those perverted monsters? For example, Lan Yan, the ice manipulator, plays with control. Tarzan, the shield warrior, plays with extreme defense. Gui Tu, the soul eater, is very special, and you can't tell the style, but he is also very strong. If Yechen wants to compete with these monsters, he should not think about making up for the shortcomings, but go all the way to the end and continue to strengthen the damage burst. And now, there are 3 ways to further improve the damage burst.